Playing on a Minecraft Superflat is absolutely plagued with problems, and the biggest problem that I'm facing on this world are slimes, are stupid, jumpy little slimes. Well, in today's episode, I want to mediate that. I want to completely remove slimes from my world if I want them gone. It's going to be a challenging episode, and I'm going to be fully honest with you. I've already fixed it, for the most part. This episode is a long story, okay? So if any of you have been in the Superflat space for any amount of time, you guys will know MogSwamp has gone through how to eliminate slimes in your world quite a few times, and I took the complicated approach. I took the approach of creating a mob switch, and it seemed like a great idea until we actually went ahead and created it. So I'm gonna run through some of the clips because this was a full video that completely failed. That has completely failed. But we're not gonna let that failure deter us. We're gonna run through the episode and we're gonna understand where things went wrong, and you're gonna see my misery level slowly change over the episode. So without further ado, let's get into past me absolutely hating what's happening. Now, what we're actually working on is probably a more advanced than it needs to be, but it's a mob switch. So what we're gonna do is put a villager breeder up here, and it is already up there, just not producing yet because I'm just gonna AFK it and get pretty much all we need here. But this thing should, in theory, be a good mob switch. What you do is you... Do you see what I mean? Do you see why this is a necessity, man? This is absolutely insane. So basically, you take a villager, you trade with it once. So you only have to give it an emerald, and then it'll hold its trade and become a different kind of tallied mob. And then you put it in here with a bunch of zombies, they'll turn it into a zombie, which makes it a hostile creature, and it counts toward the mob cap, but it won't despawn. So once you put a chunk loader within proximity to this box, turn the chunk loader on, everywhere in this world essentially becomes useless. And that's literally exactly what we did. And if you can tell by it, there's a pumpkin. There's a pumpkin guy. I was playing on this world on Halloween and there's a pumpkin guy. That's cool. I like that. That's interesting. Either way. So what we did was built the villager breeder, brought it down, and created the entire contraption. We did everything. Oh, there's a lot of villagers in here. We did everything we needed, but as you can tell, something went a little wrong. On camera, at the end of this episode, I think this is the end. This is probably the end. If not, we're gonna do it on camera anyway. We're locking in, baby. Hard mode, locked in. No changing it now. Never, I didn't anyway, or else I would have lost the iron farm, but we can go peaceful mode without even needing to, uh-oh. That might be a problem. Believe me, that was far from my only problem that I had at that moment in time. And just when I thought we were done, we're nowhere close to being done. You know, we locked into hard mode, this thing was working great, and then I logged off and closed my game. And do you know what that does? That permanently unloads these chunks until they're kickstarted and then started again. So that means every time I quit the game, I now have to travel out here to turn this back on to stop spawning. But if we're in an area that doesn't need spawning, it becomes a problem. So I have a solution, and the rest of this episode is gonna suck. And suck it did, because the solution is way more complicated than I ever wanted to admit. So let's head into the Nether, explain that portion of the video, and then we'll get into what I actually did to fix the problem. And it happens to be this wild contraption. We literally sent all of our zombified villagers into the Nether and walked them back to the spawn chunks. I would say one by one, but it was more like all of them at once, which was terrifying. But we did make it back. We did make it back through this path. By the way, this took me hours. It's such a long path. These things it was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare to move all the villagers back, and we didn't even get lucky when we got there. I'll explain once we hit the portal. And that's when this contraption came into play, but believe it or not, it didn't always look like this. It had some major flaws in it. I'm not sure if that's some of our guys or not. It sure looks like it, but there's nothing around. So we should, I don't know how they got out. That's right, a large chunk of our zombified friends actually left the area and burned up in the sun, so we lost a large number of zombies in here. I'm not sure how many it actually was. Keeping track of how many are in here was an issue, but we had to do the process again. It was easier just to use the current farm that we had back there and bring them back through to get them done. So we have them all in here. We're good to go. We are absolutely good to go. So let's get into the fix of how this actually works now. So now let's talk about my almost perfect fix, and it actually involves the spawn chunks of the world. Now, we've already utilized the spawn chunks. We threw the iron farm in here, and it works perfectly for what we need in this world right now, but as many of you know, the spawn chunks are always loaded no matter where you are in your world. You could be 10,000 blocks away, and within this square is constantly loaded. So I took advantage of that. I threw in a chunk loader. The original plan was to kind of have a chamber here where the zombies would be on this side or this side, so depending what we wanted, we could turn it off and on, but then I went against that and created a chunk loader. Now this chunk loader was uploaded by Exumavoid, and it fixes itself if it doesn't have an item thrown through the portal. So it's not as simple as the normal ones you see, like a 2-minute short on that will show you how to do it, but it works beautifully. So we have the chunk loader and the spawn chunks, and then the actual zombies over here. Now, it can be shut off. It's complicated to shut off, and it's kind of complicated to fire back up, but you could shut it off. It's not a big deal. So why is it almost perfect, you may be asking? It's in the spawn chunks. These spawn chunks are always loaded. That loads that. It works. You can see there's no slimes around me at all. No, even when I'm at the other area, because technically they wouldn't be here anyway, because this area is permanently broken now. So, when you load a single player world, you load these chunks in a delay, depending where you are. When you load in, these chunks are unloaded. It doesn't load when the Minecraft instance isn't running, so these won't be loaded when I close my game. And when I join, it takes a split second to fire these back up. And that gives the opportunity for mobs and kind of slimes to spawn, but it's a very small number, and I don't think it's going to cause an issue down the road. Even if it does, this is the only solution. I can do this for all the chunks that I want to work with, or I can have this thing turned on. So, problem solved, I'd say. And it is actually really surreal not seeing anything in the world, and from this point on, we're only in episode 2. This is episode 2 of the series, and we have one of the biggest liabilities completely blocked. Now keep in mind, if we do need mob spawning, we're going to build mob farms in the future, and if we need all that, we can just come over and turn the system off and head to that area. But it's an awesome solution, and I can't wait for the future of this series. Now, the original video was about 45 minutes long, and I've taken what I think was actually good parts, as you can tell, it was very little, and created this episode for you. So I'm going to end it here. The war on slime has finally been won for the most part. So if you guys are new to my channel, my name's Gaming. You guys can call me Justin. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, or you may never see me again if you enjoyed these videos. And if you want to help the channel out, you can hit the algorithm monster button, known as the like button, and it'll help me in the algorithm and more people can see this video. So, thanks so much for watching, viewing, and if you did, subscribing. And I will see you guys in episode 3. Peace.